Start to go live.
Everybody, we're live.
You're live.
Yeah. Okay, I need a motion to accept the minutes from the previous DA and nursing home minutes. Second,
There it is.
Elmer,
Yeah, go increase.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Steve.
All right, so last month in June, we have seen an increase, obviously, in our office activities. So we're starting to get more and more vets coming in with the new procedures. We're still trying to keep it to appointments only. We have had a couple walk-ins, which we've been able to manage. But we just highly encourage appointments so we can make sure that social distancing is able to be practiced and we can clean in between each veteran coming in, just to make sure to minimize our risk in that regard. Our outreach is going to be starting on July tomorrow. LaSalle is going to be going to Streeter on Tuesdays. So every Tuesday she's going to be in Streeter at City Hall. And then she's going to be in Mendota Chamber of Commerce on Thursday. So these are two new outreach locations. So we're going to be starting. We're going to give her this first week before we truly start pushing advertisement for it, for her to get comfortable, figure out the ropes, figure out how to access the internet, all that stuff. And then next week, we're going to start pushing advertisements for it. So just to let you know that. The VA clinic still wants us to hold off on doing our outreach there. They've said until next year. So when we're going to be going back there, we have no idea. The VA is still pushing a lot of virtual visits if they can, and minimizing the foot traffic through the clinic out there. So still something that, you know, it's out of our control, even though we want to be out there and at the LaSalle clinic again doing outreach. But if they're not having the foot traffic, it probably isn't going to be worthwhile for us to go out there anyway at this point. And then Sandwich is going to be starting up again next month, first Friday of every month. So we were doing that before, and so it's something that we can reopen again. With our outreach locations, we're going to make sure that we have the plexiglass. We have a little travel one that Lisa has on her desk.
Oh, okay.
And she can take in her car and stuff, so we can still practice that social distancing and still make sure that everybody's safety is still being taken care of.
Now that plexiglass, did you purchase that?
It was given to us by maintenance.
Okay, that's what I wondered.
Yeah. So they built it, just the scrap 1x2 or 1x4 that they had, and so it just stands up on her desk. So. Our resource fair that we had rescheduled for August is canceled. We are looking at May of 2021. We talked to pretty much all of our sponsors that had donated money. Only one has asked for it back, which we totally understand. They expressed that they will probably be a sponsor again in May, but just kind of want to hold on to their money until then, which more than fine. You know, we have no idea how long this coronavirus thing is going to last and how long, you know, we hope by May of next year we're beyond this, but who truly knows? We did, you'll see in the bills, we did purchase a couple of docking stations and a new laptop. Part of that is we were planning on budgeting for that stuff next year. However, with coronavirus, we haven't been traveling. So we have that extra money that we're going to be transferring over in order to cover those costs. So it's something that we were planning on next year, but rather than add an increase to the budget next year, we might as well maintain our current budget, and that way we can defer the costs. You know, if we're not traveling for our training and stuff, then we can do that.
Now all your training's been canceled then?
Well, the ones that were down in Atlanta were canceled. That was back in June. Our one for September is still a possibility. That's down in East Peoria, but obviously a lot lower cost than the one that's down in June. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing. We're still trying to minimize the cross working stations and stuff in the office. So we are still working from home periodically in order to minimize that. With Lisa doing the outreach, that helps out in that regard as well.
So usually there's just one of you in the office at a time?
There's about 2 of us. We try to keep it to 2 of us. That way, if somebody comes in and they want to talk to Lisa, who's at the front desk, you can go into one of our offices and see them rather than trying to meet with somebody out there in the front. It's just not good for HIPAA protection or anything like that for her to be meeting with clients out there when somebody can walk in and they're talking about a medical appointment or something like that. That's just not.
Now, do you try to keep the same clientele? All, like, somebody that talks to you,
Mm-hmm.
you continue to talk to that person
Correct.
continuously? You don't switch back and forth between?
I mean, there's a lot of ways to go about helping a veteran through like a compensation case or a pension case. And our database tracks who's making comments, who's the VSO on that case. So we try to keep it the same because, I might be going for X. Well, there's 3 different ways to file
get
for X condition. So we try to keep it the same. So we're not confusing the veteran. We're not confusing the family. We're trying to make sure that we stay with them through the whole process.
Tom, you have a question?
Yeah, I just, in regard to your off-site locations, do you have secured hookups for your computer access to whatever you need when you're out there?
Mm-hmm. We have mobile hotspots on our phones.
Okay, so,
So we have our own dedicated line of internet, so, we're not hooking up to the city, we're not hooking up to the chambers, we have our own secure connection to the internet. Our database is secure as far as the one that we use. I know John's already looked at it. We get, one of the big security factors is the password. I know that was an issue with the data breach, so just to kind of go over that. So we don't have a set password for that database. What we do is we type in our username, we hit the next button, that automatically generates a random code that's sent to our email or our cell phone, whichever one we choose, and then we type in that random generated, and it only works for 5 minutes. And once that code has been entered, it no longer works for any other user. So there's a lot of security factors that are built into this database that we have. This database also talks to the VA. So it's going up to the federal VA, Veterans Benefits Administration, so it meets all their security requirements as well. So I would say it's more secure than most databases out there in trying to prevent a data breach or anything like that.
I don't really understand, does it come back through our system here, or does it go direct to a federal system? I mean, I'm just trying to see.
So the database you use is a web-based, so none of the files or information is stored here at the county. All the information is on a server that's out in California that communicates with the VA. So we enter in the information, we hit send, their servers talk to the VA. So there's nothing that comes back to us.
Nothing comes back through.
Yeah, they're not accessing our computer, we don't give them access to our computer, it's just completely web-based system, so there's no risk of data breach.
So when you're here at your office in the courthouse, so you do use the system?
We use the internet, but we don't,
System.
yeah.
Okay.
But that server or host or whatever you want to call it doesn't have access to come back and view or access anything on our computers other than uploading files. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you mentioned Sandwich, are you, where was the location in Sandwich? I didn't get
At the VFW hall.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Wait.
Noticed that we had 3 different emergency relief for rent this past month. To refresh my memory as to the vetting process as to when a veteran is available to get rent relief, as to who actually approves the rent for the veteran, and are there criteria for them to be able to get that rent relief?
So we operate on 125% of the federal poverty level. So we do that, so it's a rotating scale, which is actually just below Social Security Administration. So if somebody's getting Social Security retirement, their income is above, just to kind of give you a threshold. So, I mean, they are pretty low on the income threshold. Now, to verify that income, we require bank statements, tax statements. If they're claiming family members, we require marriage certificate, birth certificates in order to verify that they are truly family members. And then it's just on a flat scale. So if it's a single veteran, it's $200. If it's a veteran plus one or veteran plus five, it's $350 a month. So we don't do additional for each individual dependent. It's just if you have more than one, it's just that extra $150. Go ahead, Mark.
And just for transparency, does that rent check go directly to the veteran or does it go to the provider? The
No, we only
landlord?
do directly to vendor payments. So we
Vendor
only
payment.
do directly to the landlord or directly to ComEd, Ameren, the utility company. And so it's also, you can either only get utilities or rent. So if you have, let's say, your utilities, you need help with this month because you're behind, we can pay that $200 a month or that $350 a month to help get you caught up. But a lot of people do choose the rent because that's going to be the biggest bang for their buck, per se, as far as the most benefit.
And not to be overcritical,
Yeah.
but as we know, in Union Housing and Urban Development, they do have programs also available.
Correct.
For those that meet within those guidelines. Have we done any channeling of those veterans to that group to get the actual possibly Section 8 housing payments based on their income?
So we work with the Hines VA HUD coordinator. So they try to get veterans into those subsidized housing. If a veteran is receiving help for the same issue, we do not pay. So like, let's say they're getting help from Midwest Shelter for Homeless Vets for their rent or utilities, we then do not pay, okay? So we don't want somebody to go out and get help from 5 different agencies for the same thing and then they're getting a surplus. No, we want to make sure that we're helping the veteran get a step up, but not to the point of
Pay everything.
everything, yeah. I think there's gotta be some sort of incentive for them to continue to better themselves, better their situation, and there's a lot of resources out there that we help to coordinate them with, in order to get those resources.
Anybody else have any questions? No questions, then do we have a motion to accept Steve's monthly report that comes on file?
So moved.
Second, Bob, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have a motion to, I guess we don't recess or adjourn?
No, can you approve the bills for
Oh.
PAC?
Yeah, the bills, has everybody seen the bills? I don't know, have you seen them, Luann? I think they're up here by Mike.
You need the amounts?
Well, no, Luann needs to sign them.
She's over there. Oh, that one more thing before we get, I've been one of the IT meetings and stuff like that, and you had made mention that you have your own system down there. Is that something that you've been working with IT?
No. So our database is a web-based program, so IT knows about it, they allow us access to it, but as far as, we don't have our own servers, we don't have our own anything like that. We have a shared drive on the network, which John manages, but beyond that, no. John knows about everything that we're doing, he's kind of part of getting everything set up, so.
And our database then is archived every night, so we don't lose that information
It's archived, I believe, every hour.
Oh, okay.
So it's on a rotating archiving so that you can go back and make sure that we don't lose anything.
And that website costs us approximately how much a year?
So it's going down. So this year it was $1,000 per user. And then next year it's actually gonna be about $400 per user. So
How's that?
reason being is we were kind of one of the pioneers and getting that database. We're the first one in the nation.
Oh, really?
That was back in February of last year. And so now they've gotten big enough that they can lower that cost. Okay, so they've, pretty much all of Florida has had it. Out in California, they all have it. There's a lot of states and organizations jumping on because it is really great database and really doing good things. So they're able to start reducing that per user cost.
And the only other thing, I believe Joyce is probably gonna start handing out towards the end of the month,
Yeah.
the budgets for next year.
Mm-hmm.
So we hopefully can discuss it next meeting.
Hopefully. Depends. I gotta get it approved.
Yeah.
So we'll see when she gets it to me and if I can get it on the agenda for this month or next month.
Yeah. This finance, I think we're gonna start at the very end of August or first part of September, kind of looking at them.
So. Yep.
So have you seen the bills, man? We have a motion in a second, correct?
Nope.
Oh, not yet. Okay, I need a motion to pay bills.
So.
Bob, Luann seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Steve,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. Luann, you haven't seen the bills from the nursing home yet? Yeah, I think they're there. There's like 4 of them, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Curtis, you're up.
Okay, it's not on the agenda, but Gary and I have been talking for the last month or so, and I have decided at the end of the year I'm going to retire. It's that time. COVID-19 has put me over the edge. I was on that fence, but COVID-19 brought me over the fence. So, and besides that, I'm not a youngster anymore, so I want to enjoy it a little bit. So, I'll go to the end of the year. So anyway, I'll give you plenty of time, and Gary and I have talked about possible replacement for me, so we'll have to see how that works. I won't get into it yet. Gary, is it?
Yep, we've been talking and just after these, we still have to publicize it
Okay,
and ask for if anybody's interested. I believe, don't we, Jim? We should.
Yeah, for transparency, sure.
yeah. Because Gary and I have been talking about somebody in-house that I think would do a great job. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll just have to hopefully start in September. I'd like to get somebody before Chris
Yeah.
walks out the door and somebody new has to jump in.
Well, and I do work with this person very closely, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'd still like to we still have to replace her though, too.
Yeah, but that'll be her responsibility, if that's the case.
Well, yes, but we don't want.
I get you. So, and she's interested in this person, so we'll see. Okay, it's been great working with you guys too. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years, it'll be 10 years in August. Hard to believe. Hard to believe. And you've been great to work with, and I'd say that makes a difference when you work with people on a committee like this that you get along with. If you don't get along with them, it can make it miserable for the person that's in the administrator's position. Okay, so I do thank you. It's a group.
Mr. Chairman, I believe when it comes to my personality, Mr. Service is stretching the truth. Thank you, Chris. I
I was being nice.
think so. I've seen some beads of sweat on the temples.
Okay, we'll go with the management report here. We had a nice thing, we had the LaSalle County streetcars, they do drive-throughs with old cars. And I saw pictures of it, they even had a 1956 Thunderbird. And I'm old enough to remember, I'm older than some of you guys on this committee right here. But it was good, the residents loved it, and the residents were outside, it was a beautiful day, in front of, where the sliding doors are. So that was a big, big hit. We continue to do window visits, and IDPH didn't put a mandate, they put a recommendation that we do outside visits. That sounds simple, but it's not simple. And we're working on that, and when I get down lower in my report, I'll go over that. The activity director and I will be interviewing for a part-time aide. The one I think retired, so we're gonna go ahead and, I usually assist if anybody prefers hiring, when there's interviews like that, I think it helps. And so that's this afternoon, we'll be doing that. Missions and marketing because of the COVID and nothing on admissions, deaths, and discharges. We did have one resident that had to go out to the hospital, but she came back. We're doing radio ads for continued employment. We do continue to get referrals, so it's not like we're still we're not getting referrals, we are. Right at this point, we have decided not to take new admissions, but that may have to be looked at. Obviously, we can't go on with 46 census, something has to get there. Okay, employee incident report. There was only one, an LPN received a strain to her right shoulder as she was repositioning a resident bed. So we have had 8 employees and 1 visitor. But the 1 visitor, that's fine. That was the guy who was delivering oxygen and tripped, but he had no injuries. So we don't have any big ticket items here at all. There's none. I think they're using their lifts like they're supposed to, when they have a 2-person lift. There's, doing the 2-aid lift, so knock on wood, we've done well there. Nursing department, the director of nursing's focus obviously has been on the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are going to test, we finally got tests, so tomorrow, beginning at 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're going to do testing of residents and employees. So a little apprehensive about that. Hopefully it goes all right. It'll be the nasal swab. It will not be the one that goes way up in the nose. So that's a plus. Because I hear those other ones are pretty uncomfortable. I don't know. The ones that go way up there. But
I've heard that they're very.
yeah, I heard that they are. So we're going to do that at the end of A-Wing. If you can picture A-Wing, there's some private rooms. We're going to set those up. The health department is going to help us with that, the local health department. And they're going to train some of our employees, so that'll be good. And they've been great. We've had a good relationship with the health department, the local health, the LaSalle County Health Department. So I do commend them for their cooperation.
I got one question, Chris.
Yes,
How often do you have to do this test?
depends on who you talk to. If you have a case in a house, which, we may, then it just changes fluid, it's so fluid. I don't really have a distinct answer for you. I can throw out something, but I don't want to be throwing out stuff that I'm not totally sure, because nobody is totally sure. It took us forever to get the test.
Well, that's what I didn't know. I didn't know if they sent you enough to do several tests,
No, I think this is just the initial baseline testing.
'Cause
They only set us enough tests to do the baseline. The baseline being the first test.
Yeah.
And we'll have to go from there. It changes, group, it changes all the time. It really does. So we've been very fortunate not to have any. We don't think we have any, but you don't know until you get
And
the
then when we
test.
get results.
4 to 5 days. That's what Julie says for the health department. 4 to 5 days.
You got a question,
Well,
Mike?
you don't want me to go here, but I am. Our health department currently, last week, or it actually goes back almost a week and a half now to our public safety meeting with our employees. At that time, we were included in some information through the ROE's meeting along with Julie, who is the health nurse, as to testing availability. At that time, they said that they had available testing at no charge that was going to start at the EMA. In the meantime, they have now decided that testing is going to be on the dime of the person that's going to be tested. We got involved with an employee testing here at the facility, and because of the procedure we are involved with, our employees are going to have to take time off until the test results come back. Is this going to complicate our situation at the nursing home now that we're going to do testing? And are we going to be liable for paying for the testing?
Okay, everyone, the testing is gonna go through their insurance, their private insurance. If you don't have private insurance, it's gonna be covered by the CARES Act. And no, you can't have all your employees stay home. Well, we wouldn't have anybody to take care of the residents. So no, we're not gonna do that, Mike. And obviously, we couldn't operate. We said, okay, we're gonna wait 5 days for the test and you all stay home. We can't do that. Does
My
that answer your question?
understanding, Chris, didn't Julie say at the department head meeting the other day that it was recommended now? Like, I don't think they're making them. If you go over and get a test, because the question came up about our employees, my understanding was it's a recommendation that you quarantine, but I didn't get it as it was mandatory.
Are they testing people that feel sick, or are they testing, anybody can walk in there?
My understanding is anyone can go get a test, doesn't have to be a doctor's order or anything. And then the question came up, okay, does the employee needs to quarantine? My understanding is at this point, it's just a recommendation that you quarantine, that it wasn't mandatory.
I understand that part of the argument, but the policy that we have in place right now for the employee, if they're tested, until the test results come back, whether it be negative, positive, they are not allowed on premise, and they are not under our employ. And they are supposed to use their own personal time for their pay. And one of the situations that we're involved with is a lot of employees aren't getting involved with the testing process just for the fact that they don't want to use their personal time because they don't know what the future brings as to their health concerns. So they're not going through with the testing. This is the concern when we get involved, and as we know, this is a living new event that we're dealing with, and it's very difficult. Mr. Walsh, Mrs. Owens, myself sat down with our EMA director to try to ask questions as to what the policies are. So Mr. Cernas today is making an explanation. You're going to provide for testing for our residents, and I guess that
And
it's
employees.
it'd be elective testing for our employees.
Not elected, it's mandatory. IDPH has told
We're
us,
to catch 22.
For the nursing home, it's mandatory. That is from IDPH. IDPH doesn't really have control of our employees up here.
But
That's
I
what
will talk to
our question
HR
was
about this, because he does bring up a good point. I think our policy is they're supposed to, but I just heard this Friday at this meeting from Julie. So I do need to talk to Melissa about this, and we may have to make an adjustment to that policy, because Because I just heard this Friday that it's recommended, not mandatory.
Well, you know, other nursing homes have been tested here, and they're not sending all their employees home.
No.
They're not.
Well, now,
You can't.
with with county insurance, the county insurance is paying, or does it go towards your deductible if you have hit your deductible?
I don't think it goes toward your deductible. That's not my understanding. My understanding is the county insurance pays for it. If you don't have insurance, it goes to the CARES Act. But you have to realize several nurses, we're not the first nursing home that's been tested. They're not sending all their employees.
No, my
They
sister,
can't. You couldn't operate.
yeah, my sister works in Peru, and they were tested 2 weeks ago. So she said nobody came back with it, and they're supposed, the reason I asked about it, she said they were supposed to do it once a month.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of them work on the street, and I have to qualify my statements for my daughter working at the veterans facility. And they are using a lot of their own insurance benefits to be able to pay for some of this stuff also. But then that impacts our particular insurance premium, our responsibilities. I mean, it's just, wow.
Yeah,
I
it's
really-
about every day, buddy. Trust me.
I don't realize this here complication on anybody.
Well, and the thing is, to answer your question, Carla, the DON, and I said, once we get through the testing, we'll probably go to the local health department. What do you recommend? How often? We will ask her recommendation. And a lot of times you try to get answers from IDPH, you don't get it. It's so new, they don't, I'm not being overly critical of them, it's just, they don't have the answers. Okay, so anyway, that's tomorrow. All the residents as well as employees will be tested. I think only one resident, family member opt not to, and we can't force a resident to get tested. It's a medical procedure, and if he or she don't want to get it, there's nothing much we can do about it. I mentioned about the visitations. Again, this is a recommendation, it's not mandated. It sounds simple, but that means a resident can go on site and visit with their family members. There's so many things, so many factors to take in consideration there. The biggest one is there is a risk there's exposure, but of course we're exposed to every time an employee walks through those doors, we're exposing the residents. What we did is we decided to have the visitation by the screened-in porch. You know where that is? AV lobby. And the resident would be inside the screened-in porch, and then the resident family member would be outside the screen. They're not supposed to touch, they're supposed to social distance. That's gonna be tough, They're gonna wanna hug, but you can't.
Now, do you have some chairs?
Oh, yeah, we're setting it up. We're gonna set something up for it. We thought that was the best place to do it, the outside visitation. But then they have to call, they have to be screened on the telephone 24 hours ahead of time. And then an employee is supposed to be watching them to make sure they're abiding by the social distancing and stuff. So it's, it's time, employees are doing their regular duties, plus they gotta do this. So it has to be scheduled, and I'm sure there'll be some snafus along the way, but we'll get through it. Any questions on that? So it's not a mandate, it's a recommendation.
Chris, they have a allowed amount of time, a window of time that they can.
Half hour.
Half hour.
Yeah, it's a half hour, that's what we're gonna limit it to. And 2 residents at a time, that's
long.
screened-in porch is long enough, you can get 2 residents.
False.
We're gonna limit it, no visitations, outside visitations on Sunday and Monday to give us time to screen and all that stuff.
But it depends on the weather too, it's pouring down rain outside.
It's pouring down rain, well, yeah, that's the end of that, right?
Fine for the residents, facing the street in the porch.
With the umbrella.
I think we said one family member at a time for each resident. And you can have 2 residents because it's long. And it really, they have to abide by the guidelines we're gonna set up, they have to. It's just tough to do it, again, this COVID, I don't think I need to tell you, it's just been it's put me over the edge.
Pushing you in.
Okay, 2 CNAs have been interviewed, one full-time for midnights and the other would be part-time for afternoon shift. References are being compiled right now. And we continue to advertise for open CNA positions. Actually, LPN and RNs were doing well there. It's the AIDS. I don't know if it's because of the COVID, who knows? The infection control rate went up a little bit in June. There were UTI, yeast infections, abscess tooth, and cellulitis. We already mentioned about the residents and staff being tested. The health department's going to help out there. They've been great. I do appreciate their cooperation. As far as restorative plans, 95% of the residents are in restorative plans. Most of them are range of motion, eating, dressing, walk to dine, and ambulation, toiletry. So we're still keeping that program moving. So any questions about my management report? So, and if anything new, earth-shattering, I do give you guys a call. I think I'm pretty good about updating you. But,
Appreciate that.
yeah, I mean, you're on the committee, I think you gotta know what's going on. So I do give calls. And if something major, I obviously Jim will let you know. Okay, the finance, we received like 2 months worth of payments there. So that's good. The Medicare, obviously has not been as much because the Medicare A is down. Most of it's Medicare B type revenue. What do you call it? The real estate tax thing will show up next time. That'll be in the next month. And I think Joyce, wasn't she trying to get some of that trust money?
I thought she said we got, what, 200?
I don't know, because I don't see it here. I don't see it here.
I think she's keeping that separate, because you have to actually show how you're spending that.
No, I think you're talking about the CARES Act. I'm talking about the distribution of the insurance, the
Oh, that's
trust.
218,000?
The trust. Yeah, I don't see it in here, but maybe that's next month. I don't know. I just don't see it.
Well, we just signed the transfers at finance last week.
I'm just asking because I don't see it here. Okay, food service, by the way, the food service employees, I'm glad I thought of this, will be tested also. If they refuse, they will not work in the LaSalle County nursing home. I've been told that. We had one, actually, you have to look at some of the humor, you try to find humor in things. We had this one, she was fussing and didn't want to do it. This is a food service person. And she's not gonna get the test, blah, blah, blah. And usually she's a very good employee. I've never had any issues with her. She's a housekeeper, works in motels. Well, guess what? Motels are testing once a week. So anyway, so she decided that the LaSalle County Nursing Home is not a bad place to work. But she's been a great employee, but I guess, yeah, if you're gonna be a housekeeper, and that makes sense, you only travel in. All the exposure. I never thought of that, but, I noticed, I thought the water and sewer was a little high this time. It was like 2,400. I asked Mike why. He didn't know, but EJ pointed out, well, when they had the flood, that they did were hosing off the back parking lot. I don't know if I would do it. Because usually it was right about $1,700-1,800. I don't know.
If they're hosing off the parking lot, that water wouldn't go in the sewer.
Yeah, but wouldn't it still rack up as being sewer?
No.
Like me, I water my plants, it's racked up in the sewer.
Yeah, I mean, because all we pay is what actually is pumped.
I don't know why that's
Oh,
like.
I know. Highway department.
Highway.
One of the guys that I know that works down there said that they cleaned the whole truck building. They spent 2 days washing it down. Hadn't been cleaned. They usually do it like once a week or something. Well, nobody was working for 8 weeks down there, so they didn't have time to clean it. So they spent 2 days washing
Oh,
it.
maybe that's it.
And all the water in there goes right into the sewer.
They can pony up.
Yeah.
They pony, well, I don't know if we got it, I don't know if we got the 10,000 yet or not, but they're paying 10,000 a year
Yeah, we were able to get that. Mr. Small got that, right?
so far. I haven't seen it yet.
I don't see anything else. We can go to requirements, contractual services. I asked EJ why Dr. Brunel was, 3 months, and he said he hasn't been getting a bill from St. Margaret, so I'm surprised Dr. Brunel hasn't called me and said, where's my check? But he hasn't. I don't know why that went 3 months. As I said, the sewer bill seems a little high. I don't know why. But as Gary said, maybe it's because of the truck cleaning. Let's see, anything else on here? I don't see anything else that's grabs me on that page. The next page, of course, the insurance. We are charged monthly for that. I'm glad we did that. And the, of course, the grape tree, that's the contract labor is still up. And that's about it. I don't know. Anything else? No questions? Gary, now check out that one thing about the, what do you call it, the freezer, refrigerator.
It was last year we put it in.
I believe it was.
I would think there should be a little guarantee on it.
I'll check with Mike.
But seeing how we didn't pay a contractor, we did it somewhat in-house plus hiring jobs.
It was both. In fact, I think even some of the maintenance guys from here, Bill, then our maintenance guys did a lot of the electrical and everything, and then John Sales and Service kind of in-serviced them how to put it together. So it was a joint effort. It wasn't just, and we saved, what, 20,000?
Yeah.
So I'll check. I don't know. I don't know a reason for that.
That's the bill for $1,300, John Sales and Service for the freezer.
It's not quite 13, it's.
Make it 1,000, I don't care. I'm just-
Yeah,
We just spent $20,000 on it. I thought inclusive with the contract with John Sales and Service, that was going to be included for the wiring and also the placement of the condensers on the roof of the new facility.
yeah, charge it and get it going.
Correct.
Seeing how, I don't know what the warranty is.
They're brand new units.
I know, that's what I'm asking.
Well,
Sometimes you don't have a warranty if you hook it up yourself.
I'll ask.
what happened if the damn thing went to heck? That we had to call them in.
It was, it's on the bill there, it's the, one valve was bad.
For $1,300.
The parts were $275, I believe the bill is, and then the labor was $750 some. Well, they had to pump the system down to change the valve.
These are just like residential air conditioning units.
Well, by the time you drive from Oglesby,
I-
there,
I know, I use them.
takes an hour to pump them down.
I use them.
Then you gotta pump them down again after you put the valve in, check for leaks before you put the stuff back in.
I'm not, I hold them to the fire myself. I'll just, but that's me.
I will ask.
Most warranties anymore, that kind of commercial stuff, they'll cover the parts, but not labor. That's been my experience, so at best, you might get the parts out of them. I bet you, most of them don't cover labor anymore.
It's a day's labor. to take care of that work. Now, I'm going to qualify my statement and the criticism that I'm going to make. I've worked in construction. I've worked in service calls. I've worked with people that have HVAC experience. And if they, as a contractor, are making $100 or $125 an hour, those are the going charges. I appreciate all that. When I was working, they were billing me out for that as a labor man. But I'm looking at the qualifications as to 8 hours of labor. Well, let's figure 5 hours of labor. We've got to question some of that to the owner of the business. Are they padding the bill? I mean, I don't know. I'm done.
I will check and get back to you, Mike, I promise.
No, it's fair. I mean, it's fair.
I'll get back to you. Okay,
Any other questions about bills? Did everybody seen the bills? When did you get the
Yeah.
bills?
One more on Thompson. $3,300 for Thompson Electronics.
that's a prepaid.
That's a prepaid maintenance contract for our alarm system. And that
Yeah,
also includes,
it's, we save a little money by doing that.
that also includes our fire alarm system at the facility, or is that just the door?
No, it's the fire alarm system. They come in and
Okay.
it's a prepaid thing. That's what it is. We do that every year. It's a little cheaper. I know that doesn't sound cheap, but it's a little less expensive if you didn't do that.
Okay, any other questions on the bills? Let's have a motion to pay the bills. Elmer, Luann, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Okay,
You have to approve of management report?
yes, then we need a motion to approve the management report.
So
Need a second? Norm, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries.
okay, we've covered some of the COVID report. Just to let you know, we're gonna let physicians and consultants, depending on the testing now, re-enter in August. You know, they've been doing it, via, computers. So, we're gonna try to allow them to come back in, August. But that'd be like the consultant for the dietitian, the activity consultant and such. They've been doing it, but they've been doing it online, and it is less expensive when they do that, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Well, for activity and social service, yeah. So, and also the pharmacy consultant's been doing it. He's been doing it outside. He has not been coming in, but we're gonna look at that. Personal protective equipment right now, we've got a good stock, but, if we had a few cases of COVID, who knows? But right now, we're fine. We're trying to stock up. And usually when you order something, it just takes time to get it. I put down their emissions policy. I mentioned it to Carla. We'll have to take a look at that. If this testing works out well, we may have to start bringing some residents in. I know that's a risk when you do that. And I think I know we have people would come in. It's just, it seems like we got over the wage thing and then COVID here.
How many people's on the list, Chris? Do you know off the top of your
I would say there's probably 6 to 8 that may want to come in. That changes, because they find someplace else. So that would be a big help if we could get another 6 to 8 residents in. And
But a lot of places aren't really taking.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's.
Because we had a friend that her mother needed to get in, they ended up having to take her to Elgin, she couldn't get in any place around here.
I know that, and that's why we're gonna
I think we need to,
be very cautious.
oh, I agree.
but I mean, we've set up a way,
Right, we should do the distancing, the quarantining,
according,
the negative pressure on them, if we have to get some type of air system set up, put some plastic up between. and
We already have that plan, the plastic and everything. That's all planned.
And air quality checking and all that, and then eventually general population after they go through the
quarantine.
quarantine and testing process, yeah.
And we're still screening employees, by the way, or residents.
Yeah.
Like I got screened Twice I got my temperature taken. I was okay.
Now, was it the same both places?
Yes, it was. 97.4 or something like that. I must be a little cold now.
Tom,
Can we require that they be tested before they be allowed to
That's what I was
oh,
gonna.
yes,
come in?
yeah,
Yeah.
they have to be
They
tested,
would have to be.
because I know my friend's
Yeah,
mother, who
yes.
was in the hospital, she had to be tested before she could go to Elgin.
Is that in our policy manual or someplace so we're covered, so someone can come back at us later? And, you know,
I'd have to check.
no, okay. But just a thought, because that seems to be the popular thing today, but isn't in the policy manual, you can be sued, so.
Okay, moving right along, podiatry contract, I got the contract as well as the insurance approved. And it's preferred podiatry group, when I go to the Illinois Nursing and Administrators Association conferences, they always sponsor breakfast or lunch, so I know the guys, just, the two guys out there. And the one guy, he would be rambling, getting it, organized. Their references, of course, you're not gonna give me bad references, but they spoke, the three references I checked, they spoke very highly of them. They had other companies and they really liked them. They're on top of it and they're very good with the residents. Dr. Taylor did a wonderful job, but it's hard to find an individual podiatrist to do that. We'd be better off with this podiatry plus preferred podiatry group. So anyway, I would hope to get that started in August also. Then the budgets, Joyce is gonna send me sheets, right? I assume?
Yes.
Okay. So I
Sometime
get
this month.
started working on that. I did tell the department heads to start thinking of items, like, as far as our capital, we've done nothing, except that one thing, the copier. And I guess the only because I've been really watching the money. And that's all I've spent, and we had to there, the copier was shut. Okay? Any questions before I go on to personnel? I guess you'd have to go to an executive session about the medical director, Gary, or how's that work?
Do we really need to go in, Jim?
Are you talking about a specific person?
Yes.
We just want to approve a contract for 2 more years with it.
Well, then you want to approve the compensation too.
Yes. But you have an agreement with him on the compensation.
Yes, verbal,
Verbal.
yes. But I didn't know if you wanted to do that on YouTube. Well, it's up to you guys.
I don't know.
Go into executive
It's like
session.
a saber going exec just in case something came up and shit.
Yep.
You're gonna take the action out in open,
Yes.
but for discussion purposes, probably better off being exec.
Okay, we need a motion to go into executive session.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll
Discuss compensation.
No, you don't have to leave.
Go in second. Hey,
One quick shot.
Elmer.
Refills.
Oh,
I'm good, I don't.
I'm gonna do roll call.
Elmer said yes.
Okay.
Yes, Castle.
Gary Small,
Yes.
Luann,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Nor,
Yes.
Robert Lee.
Yes.
Okay, give me 2 seconds here. We'll be right back.
Amanda, is anyone on WebEx
No.
today?
No.